Um, I'm open to any questions if you have them, but I do have all of the links and videos pinned on my profile.
Okay, I'm gonna maybe Steve or Jonah want to jump in, but how come you can't start a YouTube channel on your phone? Like, why do you need hardware to build a YouTube channel? Maybe that's a silly question, but I
That
don't
was my
know the
question as
answer
well,
to it.
actually.
Well, I can purchase materials to do so, but one of the main materials I want to work with is epoxy. So maker spaces aren't suitable because they're not really built for handling fumes. They just have a few, physical barriers for chipping on things like lathes and drills, but that's about.
I think you went into the metaverse. Can you hear? Can I hear him?
I can't hear him.
Capri, I don't know if you can hear me, but honestly, this sounds like a GoFundMe or like a friend. I hate when people say friends and family because, quite frankly, some people don't have friends or don't have family. Um, but it does sound closer to a GoFundMe or doing smaller YouTube content to start, but being entertaining until you get enough traction where people might actually donate to you to make that content. It's like VCs, other than maybe Night Ventures, which they don't even do this stuff. There isn't really a market for VCs investing in YouTubers because it's kind of highly volatile, to say the least. It does exist, but it's very rare, and it's um, on a scaled level where it's serious capital used to actually build like back end stuff. So I don't know. That does sound like a GoFundMe, in my opinion, or the really jerky thing to say, which is working at a job where you get enough income that you can do this as a side thing, like a hobby thing, until it becomes a full time job.
So generally, businesses like this are not VC fundable because they don't scale in the way that we look for scale. So, even Mr. Beast, I don't I'm I don't know, Jonah maybe can correct me, but I don't know, is he worth $1 billion? Because I'm
Oh,
pretty sure.
he's worth a lot of money. Yes,
Okay.
he's worth probably close to $1 billion in terms of actually probably over $1 billion in terms of channel value.
In terms of channel value. Okay.
Well,
But
because all right, but he's a very special case where he turned himself into a business and like he created business vertical. It's a very different way of operating, and it requires a lot of capital, and they burn through money like, like it's dish soap. Like it's for them,
but he didn't
they're
start
spending
out
millions.
that way.
No, well, he started out with like, next to nothing, doing insane challenge videos that anyone else would be a mental case to do.
Okay. So I'm going I'm going to say
He left, so I feel
Mr.
like we
Beast.
could just cut
Oh,
it.
okay, let's go. Because I'm like,
He didn't like what we had to say, so or he
okay,
had connection issues. It's all good.
okay. Okay, so Woe is back. I think she's a CPA because she was taking some tax calls urgently. So she's back. So the floor is yours if you're there.
Thank you for having me back. I'm actually not a CPA. I'm in the real estate industry. But however, yeah, I did have a tax call that I had to take from my CPA. So thank you for allowing me. Definitely taking that call rugged me out of the room until that call was over. But yeah, I would like some professional input on what we're trying to do, and we've been working on it for about a year now, and we're trying to tokenize hard assets, and that's like luxury condominiums, luxury resorts, oil and gas, metals, gold and silver, some agriculture. These are projects that we actually have that are waiting for us, but the best venue to do it, staying in compliance with SEC and all the regulations from the different countries, is quite tricky. And I think it was probably Jonah earlier that was talking about SEC and whether or not, all these projects that are out there are
I'm
in
not a lawyer.
compliance or not.
I'm not a lawyer, but yes, I'm happy to uh, since I'm not a lawyer or a financial advisor, to say things that are like gust of wind that just disperse over time.
I, I totally understand. Thank you. I have spoken with SEC attorneys. Like I said, we've been working at this for about a year now, and we have projects that are really lined up across the globe. The goal is to be able to allow the average person to be able to invest in projects that interest them that are actually tied to hard assets. Some of those being able to be performance based, and some of them being able to be fractional ownership. Um, and
Fractional
we
ownership is where you're going to have the biggest issue. Sorry, please go on.
Okay, and we've looked at having the platform, built from scratch. The software is quite expensive to have that done. There are platforms that are out there, but so the issues that we have are compliance, having the BDs in place, the software, and the platforms, and tying all those things together and making sure that everything is perfect before you roll it out, I think is the most important thing. So I'd like some advice on that.
So, oh, Alex, you go. Yeah, your thing. Let's hear it.
So I don't if you're looking for this, the problem right now is the raise. Is that right? I just want to be clear about that.
Well, it's kind of which way to go with it. I mean, if we have the platform, there are platforms that are out there that are white label platforms, and then they have all the work that you need going on in the background with the marketing, with the BD in place, in compliance. Um, they work in a little bit different manner than what I was thinking about, but it doesn't mean that we can't be flexible and go the route that they have using those platforms. But if you build from scratch, yes, it can be extremely expensive.
Okay, so I think there's a couple options you could look at. One of them is I'm in Canada, so I'm mostly familiar with doing raises here or in the States, and then to a lesser degree in the EU. I would look at, if you're open to it, is look at creating a CPC, a capital pool corporation, and list it on potentially on the TSXV. I'm actually building a couple shells right now, and they're very very inexpensive, and it's kind of targeted at a raise of between a couple $100,000 and about $5 million. So if that's the wheelhouse you're looking at, there's a very small amount of money that you would need to raise as a founder. You would basically put up about 100K, and then within a very short period of time, if you have a qualifying transaction to acquire, um, you could be listing in probably as little as like 3 months or so. So and that's definitely going to give you an opportunity to do a significant raise. So if that's the issue, that could be one solution for your problem.
Okay.
So I have a question, Woe, since you're not doxxed. Are you a part of a brokerage? What's your background in real estate?
So I've been in real estate for about 20 some years, 22, 24 years. We've owned investment property. My partner's actually been in global luxury real estate. She does have her degree in international law, um, but she's not a practicing attorney. She's just more on the luxury condo resort and luxury development. We've been in real estate development, investment property, real estate. I am a real estate broker. Have my license currently placed on inactive status, though, because for this project anyway, with it being global, it's not the real estate license that you need. Although I do have that real estate capability and the real estate knowledge for sure.
So I will ask a couple questions, but I will say I would like to see what project you're talking about. My family is pretty well read in real estate, and one of an advisor on one of my companies is the chairwoman of Douglas Elliman, which you probably know of. So I can probably get her input as well. My question would be, what does tokenization mean to you? Are these are fractional or fungible tokens, or these are assets backed by NFTs that give you access. What does tokenization mean?
Well, and so my original thought was to come out with a token. And then, down below that we have sectors. So it can be commercial real estate, luxury real estate, green and blue, oil and gas, metals, and then a charity one as well for vets, transitional housing, and those have been some other areas that I've worked in. And so the goal originally was to have this token at the top and that token be able to be used to purchase the NFTs down below in those sectors. But I think what I'm finding that token at the top is the issue. So most of your platforms that exist currently offer that tokenization. It's called security tokenization, and they offer that through the NFTs. And so the token is made, someone would pay via fiat currency, and then it's tokenized through the NFT. It's wrapped in that contract, and you have all your documents that you need there.
And this is so the tokenization. I guess it has to be a utility token of some significance, unless you are literally trying to build a securitized token, which would be like literally SEC stuff. Um, the purpose is to what? House all of your real estate assets in one platform that people can purchase and sell from. What's the purpose of the entire thing? Because you can do NFTs to back a specific asset you have in your collection that could be of value. What's the value of the platform as a whole? Because there's a lot of expenses and fees incurred with that.
Correct. So the purpose of the platform itself is to be able to have the sectors and choices, not just one particular project. Like I said, we have about 32 projects between those different sectors. Obviously, you don't roll them out all at one time. You concentrate on one project at a time.
Got it. Yeah, this I would have to get more information and this I might, depending on what the assets are and, getting to know you, I might be interested in this. Because we do look at things like this. Yeah, it's tough, because if are you building a platform for the open market or you're building a platform for really accredited investors to enter like a portal?
Well, and so, I know that the ones that are out there mostly now are for accredited investors. And really, my goal is for the average person to be able to invest as well, which is not necessarily going to be accredited. It's going to be that non-accredited investor. So, my whole goal really is to help the average person be able to basically ride the sled. I think if you want to learn how to make money, ride the sled with someone who's made money over and over and over again, that's how you're going to learn. So that's my goal, is for people to create, long-term wealth, or be able to at least create that for their family in long-term projects, in something that's actually real, that holds real value.
Right. And I have
So
no idea
why
the
the
value. Sorry, Alex, you go for it.
Yeah, why the NFT versus like as versus creating a token separate from an NFT, and then you can just raise capital outside of that, because you could create something for the public market on this.
What
And
so
then go
So
ahead.
the
Sorry.
the token at the top could be, that's what my thought was, is your token at the top is for the public, and then it would go down into the sectors for the NFTs, because those NFTs also can have other values. So for instance, one might be based performance based, and then one might be based on the fractional ownership. But then another use for NFTs, like on these luxury resorts, is that we have some that would allow them to be used for, a night at the resort, or at a discounted rate, or
Oh, so
for.
so what you should be looking at. So there's two token standards. You should be looking at what's called the ERC 1155. That's like a pseudo fungible NFT token, which will house the asset. You're probably going to need to do KYC, AML, and hire a team to do that on the back end, like at Mint.
Mhm.
And then you're going to need to do ERC 721s for each individual collection as a part of your club. Actually, what you should be doing is, if assuming you have assets that are crazy valuable, which based on the way you're speaking, it sounds like you might have some really good, a good basket of assets here. It just sounds like you need to be building literally an NFT club that's private in nature, and there are certain rules around this, and I think you can have upwards of like 100 members plus. But if you gate it in a way where you can sell the NFT as an 1155, but you still need a KYC AML to actually access any of the benefits, as long as you review that with a lawyer, you might be in a potential comfortable spot. And again, I'm not a lawyer, but it's the value of whatever you're building here is going to be dependent on the assets you're actually holding, which, if they're, commercial in use, commercial property especially will do well because most people in NFTs don't give a shit about residential property.
Correct. Yeah. And we're looking at either commercial, well, we have some that's commercial property, can be hospitals, can be also schools, or commercial retail buildings. But we have quite a few of the luxury condo resorts, which would then be flagged to a 5-star hotel, i.e., Starwood, Wyndham, those sort of things. Our developers have worked with those businesses in the past for many, many years. So we don't have anybody who's really new in this space. These are people who are 50, 60 years old, and they've been doing this for 25, 35 years. And they literally build out one project and go to the next.
I'm interested in chatting. It's definitely a road I'm familiar with, and Desiree in the audience knows because we've talked about this a lot. Because Desiree is involved in my group, looking at really interesting projects in the real estate space. I'm interested. You can for sure DM me in the back end and we can have a chat if you're interested.
Okay, terrific. And definitely on the KYC and the AML, yeah, we were already looking at that on the platform because not really interested in doing it, in the platform itself in any other way. There's too many scams out there and that sort of thing. And also it has to be someone who's a real investor, who's really going to invest in the project. They're not trying to do phishing or whatever. But my goal was originally for that top token, if it could be worked in that way, and we can probably talk about this privately if you wanted, but that top token, my goal was for anybody to be able to purchase that, and then they can either hang on to the token or enter into the sectors. I don't think that top token would necessarily have to go through the KYC process, but it might, and that token is my issue.
Well, I mean, again, I'm not a lawyer, but theoretically speaking, the ERC 1155 token might not have to be gated, but each individual collection of assets might have to be, which would mean even if the 1155 wasn't gated, it would present no immediate value to the customer unless they were already an investor anyway. So it wouldn't really matter.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I understand. Okay.
And you would probably use a system like Discord or some other messaging service where you would create like a gated, the equivalent of a data room, really, and that data room would require legal documents and other documents of signing, including, doxing yourself. And this would not
Correct.
be a consumer focused product. This would be a very much so just a great place for other high net worths who love NFTs but don't feel like buying a Bored Ape, but really like this traditional market but want to play around with the tokenization aspect.
Correct. And we do have some of those as well. So
Yeah.
also if Sarah has interest in it, I would love to speak with her at some point.
I'm not her
And
assistant, or sorry, I'm not her representative. Sarah.
No, I understand. I was just kind of waiting for her to chime in.
Yeah, no, it's actually really interesting. I would definitely like to hear more. Do you have a deck already?
We do, but I would rather upgrade it and definitely make it better than what it is.
Okay. I haven't been able to do we do our women in Web3 space for engineers and people building in Web3. But we haven't done it the last couple of weeks because honestly I've been inundated and kids were on spring break and stuff. So I don't have a time where it's a little quieter to chat. But if you go ahead and DM me, I will give you a link to my calendar. It won't be probably in the next week or two that I have time, but you can at least grab a spot on there. So if we don't connect before then, because I do have, if you don't have your deck done before then, that would be the first available that I have to like talk without kind of like looking at stuff first.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I totally understand. And Jonah, did you want to speak before then? Can we speak before 2 weeks from
Yes,
now?
or you can DM, she's on my team, Desiree in the audience wearing the other cool smiles, Desiree Patno. She specializes in real estate, and she may know more about the assets you're holding than I. Although my family, I'm not in real estate directly, but my family is very deep in real estate, so they would understand the assets you're holding. Would you be able to disclose the value of the assets under management? Like, is that something you're comfortable with? Or
Yeah,
the
so
estimated value, obviously, like the appraised value.
um
I guess it's through like we can just have a call and because it sounds like you've been in the space for a while versus someone who's just raising money. It sounds like it's more of a question of you don't need help raising money. It's more you have these assets and you need to convert them to tokenized assets.
correct. But for the projects themselves, I mean, what we're interested in doing is allowing people who to invest who aren't necessarily there. So it is about raising money as well. We do have some pretty large people in the space who would like to enter crypto who are not necessarily familiar with crypto but would like to, and so that's through tokenization. And so for instance, like on one resort property, it's about a $250 million raise. Now that won't be the value of it by the time it's finished, but I mean that's, it's about a $250 million investment into that particular, and most of these are going to be, beachfront properties. There's a couple of sporting resorts geared toward major athletes.
And you've done this before. I would assume if you have access to these types of assets, you've raised for these types of assets.
So I've been in real estate forever. I have not raised for these assets, but my partner has. This is what she
Okay,
has done actually. So this
good
is what
enough for
she's
me.
actually done for
Yes,
about
we can
25
DM.
years.
Yeah, because if you told me
Yeah.
you've never done this before and you just magically have 250 million type assets at your disposal, I would really like to understand how you did that. So, okay, yeah, interested.
Yeah, when you come to the international space, honestly, and you come into these kinds of projects, a lot of the developers are the same developers, or let's say it's the same group of developers that will go from, these like the Bahamas to Panama to Puerto Rico to whatever, and a lot of those are the same developers. It's the same group. It's a very small niche, actually.
Okay, I would definitely encourage you to also DM and have a call with Desiree at the bottom there, because this is her Super Bowl, right? I'm the gaming guy who understands real estate to some extent, but this is Desiree's PhD, so she's definitely someone you should speak with.
Okay, and I don't see Desiree.
She's wearing a red skater dude, and her name's Desiree Patno in the audience. If not, I'll just DM you a link to her account.
Oh, I do see her. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I'll DM both of you. And then, Sarah, I'll try to get you the deck as well so that when you get a chance, maybe we can chat as well.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. Thank you for giving me the chance to
I
speak.
started, I don't know if the reason you were interested, I started my career in prop tech. I don't know if you knew that, in development and acquisitions. So,
Amazing.
well, thank you for being here. I'm gonna gently tuck you back in. So, we have Maya next,
Wonderful.
and then
Thank you.
Aisha. Thank you. Okay.
Hello, everyone. Hey, Sarah. Hi, Jonah. I'm Maya. I'm the founder and artist of Meta Queen Fitness Club. I'm actually making some tweaks in the business plan. I'm planning to have a community vault to invest in startups. How do you guys think I should go with that?
I remember you last time you said that my guy was making video games. How did you go from making a game to
No, no, no,
into
no.
appraised assets?
That's gonna be a part of like a portion of the profit. So from a portion of the profit, I want to invest in artists and startups.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Is that a bad idea?
well, there's accreditation rules right now. So this is not legal or financial advice. I don't know
Yeah,
if we said
100%.
that tonight, but uh, so right now to invest in startups, um, well, so it's convoluted. You can take some unaccredited investors super early, but not a lot, and it's not recommended if you're planning on raising rounds. It gets complicated, and you have to move those people off your cap table eventually. It's kind of how it goes. This is just a general high level overview. Again, not financial or legal advice, but you shouldn't take unaccredited investors into your startup. So if you're making profits and then investing that on behalf of the people that have put money in the room, it's or into your game, then that's something very different. Are they technically on your cap table, or is it your self investing as an accredited investor? Because then you can't pass on that to the people involved, especially if they're token holders, because that's a security. So it becomes a really complicated space, um, especially with a lot of the way people are trying to set up these DAOs for investing and things, and
Yeah, I'm
it's
not into that. That scares me.
right. So my caution is when you talk about getting money from pools of people and investing it into startups, I see that makes me very nervous for you.
It would be actually like me as a accredited investor doing the investment, but I want to dedicate that profit into like just kind of giving back to community and artists.
Hey Maya, are you because you might be using the investor word in an interesting way. Do you mean forming a community treasury and then using the treasury to fund other NFT projects by women?
Correct.
Yeah, so that as far as I'm aware, and I'm not a lawyer, but I've seen many projects do it. You will should ask a lawyer anyway, but it's very likely you won't have a problem doing that. We do that at Smiles. We have what's called a grant process, and if they're grants, not investments, meaning there's no return on investment, there is no problem whatsoever in doing that. And quite frankly, if you do grants through your NFT project, assuming you mint out, it's actually better than getting a return anyway because you're building community return, and that has no legal issues. So build a community treasury, give out the public address of that wallet so you have transparency, and then allow your Discord community to place either votes on which ones you as the holder of the community wallet you'd like to fund, or create a grant proposal, fact sheet, and let people submit their proposals, and then you'll disperse grants and make that very clear.
Oh, awesome. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's not what I understood. So thank you, Jonah. Yeah,
I've been in this
treasuries are
space too long,
really.
Sarah. I understand.
I'm like, investor, no.
No, the Web3
Treasury,
space does
yes.
not understand the terms and the terms that give us all anxieties. I've been here too long, Sarah. I've
Yeah.
degened all the way.
Okay, that's good because I was like, we know tons of treasuries. Treasuries are all good. But yeah, you have to be careful if you're talking in Web 2 terminology. You're scaring us all in the room for you. So that's cool. But yeah, if you're making enough returns to fund a treasury, then you're doing great. Pay it forward. It also builds a loyalty, right? Because if you're encouraging people to build through grants on your project and on chain, then you're going to. Sorry, someone's mic was unmuted. Sorry, I can't even talk. Then it'll keep people engaged. So it's a great way to keep your community strong as well.
Sarah, by the way, just so you don't know Maya, but like I totally had no idea. I was in another room and Maya we there was a discussion came up about fitness, and Maya is like a mini celebrity on Instagram. She's got over 250,000 followers because she's a like international competing bodybuilder.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, I have won gold medal in bikini competitions.
Amazing.
And I'm a pilot, so that's why the PFP is a pilot.
Okay, so you're not an underachiever. We're good with that. So that's one thing. So I'll just tell you though, that is one thing you can actually leverage when you're talking to people. There's a project. The founder is a really well-known artist in New York, has a huge following, is also like you, has hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram. And they sent this 4-page deck that had like no information in it. And the founder had said, like, we need help with our deck. And I felt so bad for them because the deck was so terrible that I actually took a 15-minute call just to try and give them some pointers on how to make it better. Found out that they had all of these followers to leverage. They already had like 10,000 plus people in their Discord and all of these things that they didn't have listed in their deck. So I think it's really important when you talk to people, because so much of this space is the community that you can build and your ability to build influence and maintain it. And I think that having that many followers on Instagram and being able to maintain that over time is a really important selling point to the viability of a project. And you as a founder and your ability to grow something and maintain it and utilize it. So I think for all the people in the space, like, that's not something that you should just gloss over. I think it's a really important highlight for your skills in the space, because it is transferable. So just so this is the second time where I've been like kind of blown away by how successful someone is in other areas that they're not talking about in what they do, and those are really important to translate. I think they're valuable. So don't sell yourself short, especially as a woman.
Oh my God, thank you so much. Yeah, I try my best. I'm actually speaking at NFT NYC, so if you guys are coming, I'm so excited to meet you guys. And thank you, Jonah. Yeah, Jonah is amazing.
No, I'm not the pilot and bodybuilder. I can the most lifting I do is a bag of purple Doritos. So
Oh my God, no.
do your thing.
Are you guys coming to NFT NYC?
Yes, I'm gonna be there.
Yay.
I'll be there one day between other stuff.
Awesome. Shoot me a DM. I want to meet you.
For sure. And I am going to pass it over to Lasha. Did I say that right?
Yes, it's Aisha. Thank you.
I couldn't tell if it was an I or an L.
I know.
Sorry.
Seriously, I don't know why. Gosh, why did I have to be named with an I? No, I'm just joking. I do this all the time in spaces. No, thank you so much. I wanted to make this brief, and the reason why is because I'm really working on being able to concisely say what we do, because there are quite a bit of moving parts. And we were able to successfully raise our safe note round, which came from quite a few industrial investors, as well as angel investors. And I've noticed that the more we're able to talk with people, of course, they understand it, because we're kind of like taking them along with our journey. But I feel like sometimes it's hard to get those investors where we only have like 20 minutes or something to speak. So if it's okay, is it okay if I just try to give a brief overview of what we're building?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you. So we're building a health and safety app. We're very different in other apps. I know some people may have Citizen or Life 360. I know there's quite a bit of competitor safety apps. One thing that makes us different is we are not SOS, emergency, this is happening right now focused. We really decided to make a holistic approach. So it's AI driven. So we have basically this AI platform that allows us to give preventative analytics and trends to people. So if you're going into a neighborhood, you may get an alert that says, just be aware, this crime is seeing an increase in robberies at this time. So we do the preventative side. We also have the SOS. We have partners already with that. And we also have the after support. So we connect people with community groups and also nonprofits in the area automatically. So everything that we do is driven by technology, which makes our costs low. We are not very high on the overhead. So that really helps with our margin as well. We are able to give our subscription way substantially lower than Life 360 and Citizen. And another cool thing that we are bringing as far as kind of connecting into the Web3 space is we allow people to own their data. So all these companies say that they don't sell data, they don't sell personal data, but they do sell aggregated data. So we're allowing all of our users on the app to keep their data and for them to be able to monetize on it. So we are building a way for them to be transferred into an NFT and then sold on our marketplace. So that was kind of a high level overview of what we're doing. And I just kind of wanted to get some feedback like, oh, do you kind of understand? Did I explain that well enough? Or, any feedback would be very appreciated. I thank you.
Alex, Chris, does anyone want to start? Okay. I understood some of it, but I'm going to run you through an exercise that I ask a lot of founders in our pitch practice, which is, can you tell me concisely in one sentence what you do?
Yes. So we allow people to stay safe on the go 24/7 around the world.
Okay. And you talked about some of your competitors. How are you different specifically?
Yeah, so as I stated, we are very low on the subscription side. We also, like I said, we don't focus on just the SOS feature, which a lot of these apps provide. We focus on the preventative side of safety, and then we also work on the after support. So if you're in a situation, you press SOS. With these other apps, you're by yourself, but we connect you automatically with resources based on your needs and your location, no matter where you are.
And this is global?
Yes. So anyone around the and I'm sorry, this app launches in June. But when it does launch, you will be able to download it no matter where you are. The SOS feature, the connectivity to law enforcement, will only be available in the US for the first month. And then we plan to expand to the Canada and South America, and then eventually to other parts of the world as well.
Okay, and how much network density do you need to make this effective? Like, if I ping an SOS, are you alerting anyone in the area who has the app, or are you only alerting people in law enforcement?
Yes, so there's two options. For the paid version, it's to law enforcement. For the free version, when you set up the app, you set up your emergency circle. And so that's who would be pinged. And you can provide up to 7 people in your emergency circle.
So I feel like I've heard at least probably 5 or 6 other pitches for something similar lately. So who do you think your biggest competitor is in the space?
Yes, definitely. All of those, even Life 360 has that feature as well. Like I stated, our price is way cheaper, and our focus is on our AI driven model, which is where a lot of our focus has been. So, those predictive analytics is something that we really pride ourselves on. So, we try to stop crime before it even happens. And that's not something that any of these competitors have, is that before factor, stopping crime before it even happens.
So that's a little bit risky of a claim to make. So how are you doing that? Because like, if I decide, like, how do you? I guess a more important question is, why are you doing it this way?
Yeah, so I mean, I traveled a lot with sports and also with work. You're going into areas where you don't know. I mean, like you can book an Airbnb and it looks great, but you really don't know the area that you're going in unless you do some extensive research. Even then, do you really know? Are you looking up crime statistics before you go? So we make it really easy for people with like our integration with Google Maps. So if you're in a new area and you want to go somewhere, you use Google Maps how to get there. You can decide based off of the recommendations that we give and also the trends that we provide you, is this a time where I should walk, or is this a time where I should take an Uber? So just basically giving the power and the knowledge to people to make informed decisions before they go somewhere or in how they act. Yeah.
Okay, so how are you going to be able to aggregate this data globally but locally to start? That seems like that's a lot to tackle kind of right up front.
Yeah, so right now it's our the before side, it's going to be very MVP. So this is going to be our first version, and it's not going to be as advanced as we want it. So we're using historical data to start. But one thing that is connected, which I didn't talk about, is we're partnering with the IoT device, which is just a wearable SOS button. But we want to start being able to use not only historical data, but also real-time current data as well. So it's this AI engine that we're building, but it's going to take time, definitely.
Okay, so the preventing crime ahead of time piece is just basically letting people know if they're in an unsafe area and maybe they should go a different way or they should take a cab.
Yes, so it's talking about trends too. Like, for example, I just had a friend who went to London. There was this thing that was going on with people who are on their phones, and there was this way kind of to be able to steal people's phones, and that someone who's new to the area may not know of those type of trends. So yes, it's just informing people, bringing people knowledge, and that's going to be the basics of the app. Yes, correct, in the form of content and notifications.
Interesting. So where are you going to start? Because starting globally, like my concern for you is while you're training algorithms and things, and you need to also verify and validate data, and just being in an area of California where, I mean, from street to street, things go from being sketchy to, $5 million homes. Like, I think that you're going to run into a lot of issues that I would be cautioning you against just launching to a really large area without testing a smaller market first, or a few smaller markets first. That makes me nervous. I also think that you can't, and again, this is not legal advice or financial advice of any kind, but I would be nervous about some of the claims that you're making and the language that you're using, especially when you talk about crime prevention. I think you have to be able to back that up. And if you haven't launched it, you can't really back that up. I think you could say that we would like to help people feel safe from the start of their journey or something like that, or make a safer journey for people. That's the goal, but I don't think you can say some of the things that you've said. Like I would test those with an attorney before I started using some of those terms.
Understand.
And that's for your own, just because it's not tested yet and you don't have any data to back that up.
Correct.
Yeah. So while I understand what you're trying to say, I think there might be some better ways to say it. But I just think about some of the neighborhoods, and I'd like to see this work on a local level.
Mm-hmm.
And have you beta tested any local regions at all, especially ones that have a lot of fluctuations, like big cities?
Yeah, so it's something that we're actually internally testing as a team. And then so it's kind of 4 stages that we're doing it. The next one will be our extended network. So family and friends that we know. And then we're also opening up a wait list of 500 to be able to give feedback as well before we launch in the US.
Got it. And are you currently fundraising? You said you raised a round already.
Yes, we raised the Safe Note round, and we just now opened up for our seed round.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a big accomplishment right there. Any women in the room who've ever raised funds will tell you that. So congratulations for being in the 2.1% of women that receive VC funding.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's I learn something every day. I get some amazing feedback from people like you guys. So it's yeah, it's a lot, but I love it. Thank you so much. I appreciate the feedback.
Are you connected with any of the VCs that are in that safety tech space?
Yes. So what I do is I have Crunchbase, and we know the competitors in our space, and so I looked at who funded those, and then I connected with them on LinkedIn and Twitter, the ones who are on those spaces. So yeah, I'm trying to, because I don't have that network of VCs in the back of my pocket, I try to be, follow people and organically be able to raise. I mean, that's not to say, of course, I have cold pitched people before, but I used to be a publicist. So, I try to do my research before making any type of pitch. So yeah, that's kind of the route I'm going. So hopefully it works.
So, if you reach out to me, I do know one investor in the space, and I'm happy to make that connection for you. But reach out and tell me that I just, because my DMs are already full, and so I'll go through them tomorrow. But just remind me that I said I would connect you with someone in the safety tech space. And I'll just reach out and make sure you're not already connected, and then connect you. The other thing is, for everyone in the room, there's another platform you can use. It's called Signal NFX, and it will tell you if anybody you're connected to is connected to investors. And you can search it by vertical and by check size. So that is a good platform for people who aren't sure how big their network is. You can put in all your email addresses and see who you're connected to. So that is another platform for under-networked founders to reach out and see who you do know.
I actually really like that term, under-networked. I think that's my first time hearing that, but it's so true.
Well, yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter where you're from. So much of this, unfortunately, of tech is about network and who you're connected to and how to get connected to people. And one of the reasons that I started doing this room a long time ago was so that people could build community during COVID, because we're not out, there aren't networking events. And it's so important to look around in these rooms and reach out to people and build a strong group of founders. And they don't have to be necessarily in the same space, just interesting space, because there's so much overlap. There's people that we've followed each other through different startups and different connections and made intros for each other way down the road, and have gone, through a ton that we just randomly met at a founder event or at some pitch contest, no joke, like 17 years ago. So there's so much value in building community. Being a founder can be really lonely. It can be a tough journey, and having people that you can go through it with, that can hopefully open a door for you and make it a little easier, is so important. So I really that's the main reason we do this room, is so that you can all meet each other too. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And I'm gonna move myself down to the audience. It was great meeting you guys and ladies.
Yeah, will you send me a link to your IG, please?
Of course, sure.
Okay,
I'll do it
wonderful.
now. Good night.
Good night. Thank you. And Aisha, you know, it'll be exciting to hear where you're at and see where your raise goes, and if we can open any doors for that space, I'm happy to do so. It's
Thank
not
you.
our specific area, but we do know people in that space.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, and I think our Tube Shorts, you're up.
Yes, yes. Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So actually, I wanted to say I'm the founder of Tube Shots app. Like it's available for Android. It's not present in like iOS store right now, and it's launched from I mean 1.5 months. It's launched 1.5 months ago, and I'm getting like 2,000 daily active users right now, and 1.5K is new users, and around 1,000 200 new installs I'm getting, and the user base is increasing every day. So the growth is phenomenal, and I didn't even like do any kind of marketing. It's like zero marketing. So I wanted to know from the data. I can also tell you other data that if I can consider this app as a kind of startup, as a kind of global startup, because my main audience is coming from the USA, and I'm Indian. So if I can like consider it as a global startup, I can also give you other data. So this was my question. And the average
I have a
user
question.
time,
I have a question because that logo
yes,
looks
yes,
just
yes.
eerily similar.
Yes,
Uh,
yeah. That's the logo of my app.
no,
YouTube
it's
allowed
not.
me.
It's
Google
not about
allowed
your
me.
app. I'm familiar with YouTube. It
Yeah,
looks
yeah,
like
yeah.
YouTube
Google
Shorts.
allowed me. Google allowed me. That's why Google allowed me, and it's
Oh,
on
they
from like
allowed you.
one. Google allowed me, and I had never any problem with it. And the best part is when you will search on the Play Store, Android Play Store, when you will write YouTube Shorts and search, then my app will come on the top.
So
So this
Google.
is
So if I go into a private chat with you, you're gonna give me the written license approved by Google by Susan Wojcicki, or I forget how to pronounce her last name directly.
no. Actually, the thing is, right now I am not having any problem. If they will have any problem, so they can remove the app, and I can change
Sorry,
the
I'm an
logo.
asshole.
No,
This is not.
I
No,
can
I'm
change the
not.
logo. What I'm
Yeah.
trying to tell you is when you upload a new app, then you try your best to get the best logo, right? If they'll have any problem, then they can remove the app. But I never had any problem. I never got any email like I'm violating any kind of violation or this kind of stuff. I never had any problem. So that's why I'm saying if they'll have any problem, I can change the logo, no problem. Like with the regarding this,
But
I'm not having any
are
problem
you
right now.
getting all of these downloads because of the logo, or are you getting the downloads because of the app? So I'm confused.
No, actually, it's all natural. People are searching for YouTube Shorts and they are downloading my app, but they know it's a different app and they're using it. No,
I
actually,
gotta give you
I
credit for
don't
your
know why
hustle. I'll
you're
give you that.
laughing because it's not the same. When you open the app and when you use it, you know it's completely different. And
I'm sorry. It's
and let
ridiculous.
me tell you one thing. Let me tell you one thing. The main thing. What my app wants to do is my app wants the world to watch the best short videos. It's like I have added almost 5 lakh short videos, and I am just trying my best. Like they are the best in the world. That's why I'm getting like more than 6 minutes of average user time, and everybody's enjoying the
I
app.
have a question.
Yes,
How
yes.
often do people keep the app versus off? Like, how many people download it and then delete
Yes,
the
yes.
app?
Actually, it's the starting, and I didn't know anything about like how to build an app. So I'm not perfect in that field, but right now, when I'm saying I'm getting like 2,000 daily active users, so almost 300 to 350 people stay, and I'm getting this growth every day. There and right now, my app is installed in more than 9,000 devices, more than 9,000 Android phones.
Well, you should change your logo now. So
Well, I'll change it, no problem. If somebody is having a
This
problem,
is
then
not legal
I'll
or
change it. No?
financial advice.
no, I'm not a lawyer, but this
I'm
is
I
legal
know.
advice. Change your logo.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. I'll change it.
So
But
so how are you? Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't even know that we go down the rabbit
actually,
hole
I
with
want
this.
to know a simple question. I want to know the data the data I told everybody. So if you will ignore the logo, if like let's consider it as a different app. So can I consider it as a startup if I'm getting like this much data? Like if this much people are coming every day and and this much growth is happening. So that was my question.
So do
And
you
the
mean can you?
Mhm.
Sorry, someone just sent me a really funny
And the
gift.
and the and the main audience is from USA, and the main audience is from USA, so I'm very happy about it. And I want to tell you, actually, I started ads on it. So right
Okay,
now,
okay, okay.
Google
Hold on, hold
Ads?
on, hold
Do
on.
you use Google Ads?
yes, I use Google Ads, but the well, I don't know why you're laughing, but I know I can understand because of logo. But the thing is, let me tell you, when I uploaded it, so they checked everything. They actually checked like if I'm using YouTube videos or not. I'm not using. The videos are uploaded on my server and everything is so cool. So I never had any problem with that. If I'll have a problem, then I can change everything. No problem with that. I can even change the name. So no problem with that. No problem with that. I can change like everything. So that's the thing. So this was my question.
Okay, so if you're looking for you, Toppy, you
I don't
guys
know
have
why
to
you're
stop
laughing so
DMing
much.
me.
And it's my
Okay,
first
sorry.
time. I never
Okay,
had like any kind of experience in this. It's my first time. I wasn't even I wasn't even a developer. I just got some idea.
okay.
I just worked on it, and
So
this
I
is
will
the
say this: if you're looking for U.S. investors, you need for most US investors, you need to be registered as a US corporation. So there is a
oh, okay,
platform, there is a
okay.
platform called Doola, Doola. They're the only ones that I know that are doing
Dula,
You
okay.
can search it up on Google.
Okay, okay, I'll search it. Yeah,
it's
definitely I'll
actually
search it on
started by an
Google. I won't
Indian.
search it on YouTube. I'll search it on
So
Google.
so here's my one my main red
And
flag that I will say is that you
okay.
said you could change everything. So, do you have a way that you are kind of gaming the algorithm in the App Store that you figured out and you can kind of do this for any app, or is it for this specific app?
Yeah,
Because you're
I
like, I
can. No,
can
no, no,
change it,
no,
I
no.
can change it.
Actually, the thing is, when people use your app, and if nobody is having the problem with the logo and name, so all you always try to get the best of it out of it. Okay. If I'll have any problem, then what other option I would have? I'll have to do it. But the main part is it won't have any problem with the daily installs. I can tell you, it won't have any problem. And I have seen like many examples. If any sort of problem happens, then you have to do it. Like
Hey
there's no
guys,
other
can
option,
I
and
just
it's
step in here? You first of all, I actually appreciate this entrepreneur. I think he's really cool. I don't know. I was kind of turned off by all the laughing, and he doesn't really have much issue at
thank you,
all
bro.
right now. He was
Justin, you can
Thank
be
you,
turned
bro.
off all you
Jonah.
want,
Hold
but
on, Jonah. I
I don't
have a
fall for
legal
this.
background, and right now
That's great that you
so
do.
Jonah, he's been
Awesome.
approved by the Google Play Store and trademark laws to protect consumer confusion. All of you laughing is actually proving the point that consumers wouldn't be confused that his logo is or his company is anyway associated with YouTube. There are plenty of companies that are use the name Tube, et cetera, because
Same,
there are
bro.
aggregator economies
Same, bro.
around the entire YouTube ecosystem. If you're saying that the play button within a red logo is confusing, I just want to encourage him to not actually change his branding until YouTube itself sends a cease and desist. And if he wants to then change the reskinning, which is very easy to do in tech, while keeping
Yes,
the core
bro. Yes, bro.
technology, go for it. But the Play Store actually approved his technology, and they go through IP when they do so, specifically when I mean, it's the same company that owns YouTube here.
Well,
And I
there you go. You have a client.
and I want to say something, sir, something more. I wanted to tell you something actually. Shit, I forgot it. Wanted to say something.
but there are plenty of these kind of businesses. Anyways, I just wanted to put that out there because I just didn't want
Ha,
him to
ha, ha.
change the branding right away
I
based on
wanted to
his.
say YouTube Shorts is not an official app. It's just a part of like YouTube app. There's no official app like that. So that's why I was approved. And let me tell you, two, three apps with the same logo and the same, I won't say same name, but they have like same logo, and Google and YouTube also, Google also approved that. So it's not a kind of crime, or it's not like some kind of violation, because I saw them and then I did it. Actually, in the beginning, I had different logo, and I was getting downloads from that also. But I changed it because I saw there were already two, three apps were there, but they were different. Like what I'm trying to do is I want people to enjoy the best short videos, and that's why I'm getting so much engagement. And that's why after like 1.5 months now, if you will search YouTube Shorts, then my app will be on the top because I got that engagement from that search. So that's why all those apps like they had like more than 10,000 downloads. One app is having like more than 1 lakh downloads, but that's not on the top. Why? Because I am trying to give people what they want, and that's why they're liking it. Because when they come and when they see, like I have many features, like you can search any short videos you want from directly from the internet, and I'm just trying my best to give them the best short videos. It's like they'll enjoy it and they'll get
Okay,
addicted to
so
it.
can I ask you a technical question
Yes, yes,
on
of course.
how are you filtering the videos and how does this scale?
Actually, I'm the one who's choosing the videos, and I'm the one who made the database of almost 5 lakh videos, and those videos are on the homepage. I mean, you can watch those videos, you can even favorite them, you can save in your favorite page, then you can follow the people, you can follow the topics, like different topics are there, like Sports Nation, like I would say like fitness, I mean different kind of thing, like funny vines and all that stuff.
Okay,
So
how is it scalable though? Like how are you going to be able to filter all of the shorts to make sure that every day for every audience that there is quality
I'll increase the
content
database.
across the
I'll
board?
increase the videos. Right now it's 5 lakh. I'll increase it to 20 lakh maybe. But I'll always try my best to give them the best videos, because that's my main motive. Actually, I wanted to say something. The number one in the world is YouTube Shorts. Second, at the second, Instagram Reels, and third is TikTok. Like there is no fourth one where you'll get these kind of things. But the thing is, like there is a lot of garbage present there. You have almost 12 crore short videos on YouTube Shorts, but there is a lot of garbage. It doesn't make sense, and those videos are shitty. But I am trying my best to change that system. I want them to see the best videos, like
I'm going
best
to be
short
honest.
videos.
As a social media manager that's had to sit down for 10 hours a day scheduling content for years, like TikTok was an innovative platform that gave birth to the For You page, which was a different algorithm for finding videos. Reels and Shorts stole that idea completely 100%, and they haven't pulled it off
Yes,
as
yes.
well since it started. Well, bear with me here. I think I'm proud of you, dude, for doing something right, but like your competition is some of the largest media companies in existence. I just with technology that isn't new, right? I mean, but regardless, good job, dude. You know what I mean? You're out here trying, you know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I'll increase, and I'll try to change everything. And let me tell you, everybody, I wasn't a programmer. I wasn't a programmer. I didn't know anything about programming, but I did this in 5 months. I gave like my heart and everything, and I'll just try to make it as perfect as I can. So I just wanted to know this thing, that if I can consider it as a startup from the data I have given you, because
Hey,
that will be a kind of thing I want to
You need to
say
I,
go
to
find
people
a
that
I
yes,
network of
can I?
influencers to recruit to your platform, and you just need to not give up.
Yeah, that's some same advice. If I can chime in, this is Neeraj. I commend you for the hustle.
yes, sir,
I personally do believe what you're trying. I mean, hustle can come in many different ways.
yes, sir.
I think some of the hesitation you heard or apprehension, however you want to call it, from others that you heard, is you mentioned you run it for about a month and a half,
Yes, sir, yes,
and
sir.
you can call me Neeraj, please.
Yes,
The
Neeraj, yes,
fundamental
Neeraj.
question you have is this a startup at this point of time or not? I think two things that I would suggest: keep the hustle real. However, figure out that